And there we go. That's the game.
You should play this right before we go to sleep so I can fall asleep.
I know. It was very boring, but again, a boring is good for Joe Biden right now. Disaster is bad. Boring is good. I believe that this does help him save his presidency. I don't think that it helps him win the election. Oh, shit, look at this. Look at our boy. Look.
Mine is
That's our boy, Tom LoBianco.
At times
24 Sight.
That kind of cantankerous.
He's on this live stream. Look at that. We love to see it.
No doubt.
Yeah.
All right, he was texting me throughout that, so if he says anything lying, I'll bust him on it because he was in the group chat. Look, here's the deal.
Anyway,
it was about as manicured as you could get. Joe Biden did himself a favor in stopping the idea that he was always going to be like he was during the debate. He was better than he was during the debate. He's not going to shake the fact that that was manicured. It was very manicured. They went to friendly reporters that while they asked tough questions, they didn't ask particularly pointed questions, and they gave him a lot of stuff that was in his wheelhouse. Joe Biden likes to talk about foreign policy. He really likes to talk about foreign policy. So, if anything, what I saw was a man who saved his presidency and may well be on his way to lose this election in a landslide. There's a lot of really, really, really weird things. If we're just going to look at him like a candidate, he talks about the state of America as if 80% of Americans believe we're on the right track. We're not. I mean, let's look right track, wrong track, polling. This is where it stands right now. So if you're crafting a political strategy, right now, 21% of Americans believe we are on the right track. 70% of Americans believe we are on the wrong track. And how far does this go? That's 2023. Can we see any further? No. All right. So this is recently. And it's getting worse. So at the very least, what you need to do is craft a message that understands where America is. The way that Joe Biden talks about America, everything's awesome. And for some people, for 21.7% of America, that's true. It will ring true to them. But for 70% of America, hearing the president talk about how everything's awesome and he's the best president and nobody would be able to do anything nearly as good as he did, I mean, I don't think it lands. So congratulations to the White House. I do think that they did a good job of trying to stem the tide of Joe Biden needs to get out or resign. I don't believe he did himself any favors as a candidate. And the Vice President Trump flub, his answer of listen to him, like, those are ready-made ads. Otherwise, it was boring. I mean, it really depends on what you wanted out of this. I think the White House will take this as a win. They will take it. Because I do think that there will be less ferocity to come after him tomorrow than there was today. I don't think that he is anywhere close to winning this race right now. Maybe that changes. Maybe the polls tighten. But there are some things that I heard that make me very concerned about his understanding of where this race is and how people perceive his presidency. You know, say what you will about Donald Trump, but when Donald Trump does the your favorite president routine, there's a little element of like a wink and a nod that a lot of people hate him. So it's an unironic thing to his fans, but it's a little like twist to people who hate him. But he is acknowledging the idea that he has people that hate him. He's very cognizant of the people that hate him. I don't see any of that messaging with Joe Biden at all, whatsoever. At some point, people, even if they eventually switch him out, people will have such a bad aftertaste with this whole party. He ain't going nowhere. He ain't going nowhere.
I thought he said he was going somewhere.
He ain't going nowhere. He ain't going nowhere.
Where's he going?
You're gonna have to get a wrecking ball to get me out of here. I'm not fucking even. Yeah, guys. Yeah, it's. Yeah, you want to know? Let's see what some of the commentariat class is saying here. Let's go to the old Xaroo. Okay. Apparently, the ranking member of the House Intelligence Committee is saying that Joe Biden should step down. This is Jim Himes. President Biden is a remarkable leader of unparalleled public service, undeniable achievement, and unconditional patriotism. His administration has created historic job growth, but people over politics by cutting healthcare costs, passing gun safety reforms, rebuilding our infrastructure, and restoring a brutally divided nation's sense of decency. It has been the honor of my career to work with him. It is because of those traits and consideration of that legacy that I hope President Biden will step away from the presidential campaign. That is the weird hokey pokey that is happening right now.
Okay, your daughter's hungry. I'm gonna go.
Okay. Comfortably Smug is live here on Twitter. Smart strategist to me following the press conference. This is Amy Parnes. Not sure anything changes. He lives to fight another day. I am going to retweet that because I agree with that. Yeah, Bridget Fetisi, 4 more months. I think that is that's legitimate. Ari Fleischer, former press secretary for George W. Bush. Biden had a good enough night that the D's will not go full public meltdown, at least tonight. He bought himself more time, which probably is upsetting a lot of Democrats who think that he is the weakest candidate versus Trump. The D's are in a real jam. All right. You know, Feist here in the chat, in our chat says he did not do well. And then the gunner's dream, but he didn't die. And that's basically the tale of this. The tale of this is he didn't die. He didn't totally melt down. He had a couple gaffes, but he got through them. It's a C+. Now, do you want your candidate to be delivering C+ performances? No. You want him at a B+, you want him at an A. This is when you want people to look at that dude and say, that's my president. But a C+ when you've been churning out Fs, well, it looks pretty good. It stops the bleeding. The trend line is still downward, Renaigu. Of his reelection chances, yes. I don't think that there's anything that was in there today that makes an average voter, the voter he needs to win over, look at him and say, yes, I want to vote for him. He was slow. He was meandering. He was stammering. You're in a real pickle when you're going to get credit, including from pundits like me, for talking for 35 minutes when it was at times incomprehensible. But at least you did it. It was, you know, again, C-level political mushmouth. Not great, but it's not, we finally beat Medicare. The larger problem that I think anybody who's looking at this from an educated perspective in terms of politics will say is it was manicured. If what you wanted was him to take a real jumping and yelling, hooting and hollering press conference, he didn't do it. He went to, 8 people that were pre-vetted, that they knew the questions and they knew would be nice. You know, they didn't go to a Peter Doocy. You didn't get that kick in the teeth right out of the gun. I think that's what some people want. I don't think he can do it. 12 reporters was the final total. What do y'all think of a push for a Biden impeachment? I mean, I think it is now. All right, so here, let's take a look at what happens now. Now, the Republicans go on offense. Because I do think that some of this is going to die down from the Democrats. And guess what? 2 weeks into this story, remember, it was 2 weeks ago the debate happened. 2 weeks ago, we were here doing the debate. So 2 weeks into this debate story, we're now going to get the full brunt of the Republicans. And it's going to be unrelenting for 4 days. Now, the impeachment part of it is going to be interesting if the Republicans go down that road, because I don't think that the impeachment will be like the Hunter or the Trump Ukraine thing, mostly because you had to explain that to America. I remember, I forget who I was with, but I was with somebody in Iowa for the caucus, and the Ukraine impeachment had just happened. And I was like, if anybody in America remembers the name Lev Parnas, who was at that moment, somebody that everybody knew the name of, in 2 weeks, I'll be shocked. And he was like, oh, no, it's going to be the defining story of the election. It wasn't. Because anything that you have to explain to the American people, you are almost admitting that they don't care about. Campaigns are not about explaining new things. They're about revealing a truth that you always knew. And finally, somebody is able to say it. It's the reason why I don't like Project 2025 as a campaign strategy. Because whoever won an election by recommending the American people read a 900-page, the success rate on politicians who win by telling people to read the most popular book of all time, the Bible, is like 45%. You're going to tell people, hey, go read this 900-page policy wonk drivel. Nobody's going to do it. Pick out the things that are the worst parts of Project 2025 and make those your points. Because if you're explaining, you're losing. If you're explaining a new thing. So going back to the impeachment, if there is an impeachment, then it will be more resonant because everyone in America knows that Joe Biden might be dangerously old, if not have Parkinson's. That's not, Jamie Comer doesn't need to explain the 50 different Biden family LLCs. That is what it is. All right. So those are my thoughts. I think we're going to wrap it up here. Robert Tingstrom, campaign should be the opposite of what you say. You are saying people are stupid. They are doing that. No, I'm not saying people are stupid. I'm saying that when you're persuading anybody on anything, if you're persuading someone you have a crush on to go on a date with you, if you are trying to get them to buy Coke instead of Pepsi, if you're trying to get somebody to be, to vote for president, you don't lecture them. You find common ground with them. It's relatability. It's aspiration. It's human nature. Not to get into a Don Draper Mad Men monologue, but that's what I'm talking about. Man, he yearns, but the one thing that a man can't recover is his past. The carousel. Moving slowly, bringing memories you once thought were long gone. Finding that one little part of you that really explodes. Democrats found that with Trump and democracy and authoritarianism. You had a long history of demonization and polarization of political parties. Trump was the right kind of person that Democrats could be awakened by saying that an authoritarian is going to ruin everything. Combine that with he's your mean boss, he's the asshole who gets the job over a better qualified woman, everything, right? There's a reason why that supernovaed the way that it did. And it wasn't because anybody explained anything, it's because everybody already knew it. Building those bridges, those persuasive bridges, are the hallmarks of good campaigns, and the absence of them are the mark of bad campaigns. And so what I heard today from a campaign perspective is Joe Biden saying the economy is amazing, foreign policy has never been better, I have been the greatest person on legislation since LBJ or maybe before, so LBJ in the mud, Civil Rights Act in the mud, Great Society. Have you heard of the Inflation Reduction Act? And that he's the only person who can beat Donald Trump. Everything's great. Everything's awesome. But the polls don't count. And also, people haven't even paid attention yet. You know, they don't pay attention until after Labor Day. That sounds like he's doing a lot of explaining and not a lot of meeting America where they are. Now, Trump comes from the other perspective. He says Joe Biden's the worst president of all time. Well, by approval ratings, Joe Biden is lower than most presidents of the lifetimes of the people that are living right now. So is it hyperbole? Is it a demonization? Of course. Is it closer to true than everything's awesome? Unless you're one of those 20%, and then you do think everything's awesome, the country is on the right track. Well, yeah, Biden, Trump. I mean, Joe did I think Joe did his goodest job. That's my summation. He did his goodest job. Okay, that's it. Thank you guys for joining us. If you are new to this channel, we go live in the mornings on Monday, Wednesday, Friday when I'm not juggling, which I was doing on Wednesday. The podcast is called Politics, Politics, Politics. If you're on YouTube, you can subscribe, like and subscribe on YouTube. We will be live streaming from the convention. I'm going to be at the RNC. We will be live streaming from there. I don't know whether we're going to be in the convention or we will live stream the programming from the Airbnb that we have. But we will live stream. We will do our best to live stream. And we will definitely be covering the speeches. But, yeah. What day is the convention? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. 4 days of chock-a-block RNC coverage. What I would imagine is going to be an ebullient Republican convention. Because I know the Trump campaign believes that Joe Biden is a gift. That was a quote from, I forget if it was Susie Wiles or Chris LaCivita. But Joe Biden is a gift. And I think Joe Biden is going to make it to the convention now. RNC predictions. I still think Burgum is the VP. I don't know where the Vance talk came from today, but I still think it's Burgum. We'll find out. Okay, that's it. Till next time, this is your old pal Justin Robert Young saying some shows talk about politics, others talk about politics, and still more discuss politics, but this is the only show that dares discuss all three.